Let's speak to Gwen. Gwen Dumpleton is from the newly formed Herefordshire Waspy group. Hi to you, Gwen.
Good morning to you, Elliot. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. I'm sure lots of people do know, but just remind us what Waspy is again.
WASPI is Women Against State Pension Inequality, and we suffered from a rapid increase in the state pension age some years ago, and a lot of us didn't actually have any notice of this, so our pension age went up once or twice.
It was from 60, wasn't it? Because initially it was 60 and then it's 65, and then the government shifted it.
So we had no notice of this, so of course we couldn't prepare for this change in our pension age. You know, it's quite a loss of our income, and the government's still refusing to pay compensation for this lack of notice. So what do you recommended it?
What do you think of the triple lock and the fact that, I mean, it's going to 4.7% is a pretty hefty rise this year?
It's all relative, isn't it? 4.7% sounds a lot. I mean, that's based on average earnings. So obviously some people are earning, a lot of high money earning, and others are low. Can I first of all just say, not all pensioners are actually well off and mortgage free.
I mentioned that. I said that earlier on, and yes, you're absolutely right to say it again. But there are quite a lot of quite well-off pensioners, aren't there? And often they don't have a mortgage or they don't have rent. I mean, that's another thing.
Can I just say, though, that a lot of the Herefordshire Waspis are on basic pensions.
Yeah.
Now, you've meant, the 12K pension has been mentioned, 12,000. That was the basic pension for people who retired after 2016.
Yeah, there's a new new pension and old pension, isn't there? Yeah.
People retiring before that are on 9,000, which is a lot of difference. Now, if you are on the 12,000, but forget the increase at the moment, but with earning 12,000 a year, that is just £5 an hour. That is below the basic rate of pay now, and it's not much. So for pensioners living on that, to suddenly say, oh, you know what, you've got this huge increase of 4.7%. It's not much.
I appreciate the costs have gone up, and this is the thing. I keep reading this. Is like, electricity's gone up, gas has gone up, water's gone, but they've gone up for everybody. It's not just pensioners who are suffering. That is it. That's everybody in the country is having the same problem.
Yeah, but what somebody out working, what would you think if you got £500 a year as your pay increase? You'd be up in arms about it.
Well, I'll be absolutely honest. I'll be absolutely honest with you. I didn't get much more than that from the BBC. We've had a pay cut basically because it hasn't kept up with inflation.
And I'm sure you're not happy about that either.
No, I'm not.
Inflation in July was 3.8%, and it's continuing to rise. Food costs have actually gone up 4.9%, and they're continuing to rise.
But it's the same. But it's the same. But it's the same for again. I'm not being unsympathetic. I totally agree with you. But it's the same for someone who's at work, isn't it? Who has had a below inflation pay rise.
Yeah, but they can then ask for an increase in their wages or their salary, and
but they won't get it, will they? They probably won't get it.
A lot of them do, and they often have unions that can help them to do this. What pensioners have got? We don't have a union. We have our own voice, and that's what we try to use, particularly the Waspy ones in our fight at the moment. We've got nobody else fighting for us. If the government does decide to take away this triple lock, which they did give a commitment to the triple lock that they said was unwavering, now obviously they do go back on what they say quite a lot. If this doesn't happen and they take away the triple lock, they're going to base it on a very, very low increase. I mean, it could be 2.5%, which is the lowest increase at the moment. That would be £200 a year. And what's that going to happen? A pensioner on the basic pension or a Waspy woman on the basic pension, that's going to be so difficult. So many of them are going to be really, really struggling, even more than they are now.
But the problem is with more and more pensioners coming into this, and we are an ageing population, so there's going to be more and more pensioners. It becomes unsustainable, this, doesn't it? There will be no way that anybody can, because it relies on people at work, doesn't it? Paying tax. That's how pension works. The state pension is paid for by people who are at work. And as I said earlier on, if people who are working are really struggling and have to start making complicated decisions like, we can't afford childcare anymore, they will then have to stop working, then they'll stop paying taxes, which makes it even more unaffordable.
I think currently, I mean, yes, we obviously all paid into our state pension when we were working. Well, but you didn't.
Gwen, but you didn't pay into anything. You paid the pension of people who were pensioners then. That's how it works.
That was with the expectation we would get a reasonable pension.
Well, I know, and absolutely, and you've been shafted, but things change. This is what I'm saying, is it's going to happen to other people, isn't it? Unless we get a grip on it now.
The thing that's happening now, Elliot, is that there's more and more is going into benefits and the welfare state and to childcare, and the pensioners seem to be the easy target to me. Things that they keep trying to cut, it affects the pensioners. We have the winter fuel payment. They cut that.
Well, they rode back on it, didn't they? They reinstated it. They've reinstated it for everybody. Yeah, basically.
There was such a problem with it.
But okay, you mentioned childcare. What's the problem with childcare? That means people can go to work and pay taxes. That's a good investment of money, isn't it?
Well, again, I believe. I mean, I'm maybe old-fashioned, but I believe that parents should be responsible for their own children.
But how do they? If you can't,
this has nothing to do with Waspy.
No, I know, Gwen. But if you can't afford, most people do not have the luxury anymore, or the money to have a parent stay at home.
We've 22, though, haven't we, Elliot? That, people believe they have to have a bigger and bigger house and get huge mortgages.
Well, you need a huge mortgage even for a fairly small house now.
Yeah, when I was getting my first house,
when was that?
We weren't allowed. That was back in the 70s.
Yeah, and how many times? How many times was it your salary?
It was my husband's salary, twice his salary, and that was it. Mine wasn't couldn't be taken into account.
That's fair, yeah.
And, they talk about the high interest rate now. Our interest rate went up to 14% at one point. So, I mean, we struggled.
Only a couple of years. Only a couple of years ago, it was up to about the same, and lots of people are now stuck on mortgages at that rate.
I stayed at home and looked after my children for the first few years. Yes, we struggled. I got a part-time job that I could work around my children, so I could actually be at home for my children in their younger years. And I think that's one thing we're missing out on now. I know we're getting away a bit now from this triple lock.
No, because it's all part. It's part. It's all moving parts, isn't it? Gwen, you're right. We've diverted a little bit, but this is the thing. It's all moving parts. If you take money if you give it to pensioners and take it from there, or you take it from there and give it to pensioners, it all has an effect, doesn't it? Gwen, I'm going to move on, and not because I disagree with anything you're saying, but I want to try and squeeze in as many calls as we can.